Hello, and welcome to the 21st episode of the Real Serious Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Charles, but now, forever, until death do us part, I am joined by Mr. Jack Hester, who, after last week's guest appearance, we just couldn't let him go. Now he's a permanent fixture on the pod, so welcome to your first official, as a host, pod, Jack.
I'm amped. We got some fire stuff to talk about. It's gonna be a good pod.
We got some great stuff to talk about, but before we do that, do a little recap. Chuck, you're in Chicago, man. How's Chicago going?
Chicago's good. I got here on Friday, and we went out a little bit, got some dinner, went out to the bars, and then yesterday it rained all day, which is kind of a bummer. But we played a lot of Catan. I went to Uno, obviously. We watched a couple movies. And then we went out to the bars last night before the Cubs game. We didn't go to the Cubs game, but it got delayed, so it was pretty busy around Wrigley around like 9 p.m. We actually saw Caleb Williams. He walked right by us, yeah, in the bar, which was pretty neat. But Chicago's been fun. It's my first time, so I'm staying with Jenna's sister Hannah and her boyfriend Kyle, and they just moved to this apartment, and so it's kind of like a housewarming, I guess, weekend for them. But it's been a lot of fun. And then right now I'm in Kyle's office. Yeah.
Chill. Moving up in the world, man.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
Jack, how you been?
Good. Been a week well spent with family. Celebrating my older brother's birthday earlier this week, so I was in Nashville about Tuesday till Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday has been nothing but Star Wars. So
as it should be.
Like
as it was written.
That is all I've been doing. I watched 11 Star Wars movies in the last week, and my life is different now. I'll say that I'll just save that until we get into it later. But that's really all I've been doing is Star Wars and working around that. But it's been honestly pretty great to revisit Star Wars after I felt like I lost the love of that franchise. Because I'll talk about my feelings for it later.
Should we get through what we watched besides Star Wars?
Yeah, let's talk about what we watched besides Star Wars, because we all watch Star Wars. So, I'm going to go first. I never go first.
Go for it.
I watched The Fifth Element from 1997. Gave it 2 stars. Didn't super love it. I read some other reviews, and people kind of said what I basically said was that either you love it or it's not for you. It wasn't for me, and that's fine. But it was a good little appetizer to get back into sci-fi before I went and watched 11 Star Wars movies. So, and then I also rewatched Godzilla Minus One, which I once again gave 4.5 stars. It just came on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. Really love it still. And then last night, Avery and I Netflix partied and watched Dirty Grandpa, and that movie stinks. So my review of it was real bad. Yikes. Gave it 1 star. Unless you're real bored and have nothing else to do, don't watch it. It's not good. So, yeah, that was my other things besides Star Wars.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, what about you?
it was really close for me. I just watched The Jerk, which is a Steve Martin comedy in the late 70s. My parents love that movie. Interesting comedy style, but it's got some funny stuff. A little bit outdated for today, but it's got some funny stuff. So It was a good movie. I give it a 4 out of 5. What about you, Chuck?
I watched 16 movies total this week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my letterbox was kind of cooking. But, so I watched all the Star Wars except for Solo. I watched half of Solo. I'm going to finish it when I watched half of it and then I had to come to Chicago. So I'll finish it when I get home, but we'll talk about it later in the Star Wars part. But I don't anticipate it being a very significant part of my Star Wars journey. And then Jenna, while she was visiting, we both decided, you know what we should do? We should do a Spy Kids marathon. So then we watched this first Spy Kids, realized, wow, this is trash. I gave it 1.5 stars, and then we were like, well, we have to watch the second one, right? The second one was also trash. I gave that 1 star.
But the third one?
We didn't get to the third one.
You know who's in the third one, Charles?
probably going to be trash. Game Over. What is it? Spy Kids Game Over.
Jack knows who's in the third one.
I know who's in 3.
Oh, Glenn
Yeah.
Powell. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I watched The Batman. That actually replaced The Dark Knight in my favorite movies tab.
It's better. It's better
so
than the Dark
good.
Knight.
It's so.
I've been saying
It's tentative though. If you guys read my review, I'm gonna have to watch The Dark Knight soon to see if that's gonna.
well, we are doing our 5 favorite movies draft at the end. So
So that might have been a little sneak peek. Good Will Hunting. I watched that again with Jenna, and we both loved it. I gave a very long review. I watched Inside Out. Gave it 3 stars. I thought it was like. I know, Jack, you said last week you were kind of unimpressed. It's like a fine movie. It's just very forgettable for me. Like, I don't think I'll ever think, wow, you know what I want to watch right now? Inside Out. Like, I don't think it's just going to stand with, like, all those other Pixar movies that are, like, so good. Watched Employee of the Month, 2006 rom-com. Gave it 1 star. And then I watched Scooby-Doo and The Cyber Chase. That was
Good
one
movie.
It's a banger.
of my
Yeah,
rainy
it is.
day movies yesterday.
that's a good one.
I also watched The Hobbit. Kind of. It was like on while we played Catan, so I didn't log it. Plus, it's already in my letterbox. So, yeah, that's what I watched.
There you go. I had an unfortunate accident this week, so I've been waiting to kind of get to 1,000 films in Letterboxd, and I was gonna do like something special for it and watch like an all-time classic I've never seen, and I miscounted, and so now my forever thousands film on Letterboxd is Dirty Grandpa. So that is my history now forever on Letterboxd. Is my 1,000 is Dirty Grandpa, which is tough. It's
I
tough.
thought
I'm
you were
not
gonna
gonna
say
lie.
like The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, and honestly, I think I'd rather have Dirty Grandpa than Rise of Skywalker.
Well, okay, so if you already watched something though, it doesn't count for your full because if you rewatch it, it doesn't add to that
Oh,
number. So that's why I was like, oh, I can watch all the Star Wars and not worry about it. And then I didn't realize I haven't logged Dirty Grandpa, so I was like, all right, I'll watch it with Avery, and then no, not good.
I thought it was done by like Diaries, or I guess is it on like a Lifetime of film? Is that where the 1,000
So
is?
yeah, so there's the
Okay.
2 kinds basically. There's like the this year. So if you go to like your main letterbox, and then it's films this year lists following followers, and then films for me now
Gotcha.
is 1,001, which is
Gotcha.
unfortunate. But yeah, we got a lot to get into. So quick overcap what we're gonna talk about today. We'll do our news as always, and then do our Star Wars talk. We're gonna talk about how we feel about the franchise, our feelings on the movies, and then a draft of our top 5 favorite films. Not the best films, our favorites. So let's get right into news, I guess. Okay, what is this Viggo Mortensen thing? Someone put in there. I assume Charlie.
that's such a. Why would you introduce it
'Cause
like
I
that?
I
Charlie,
couldn't
can you
find.
tell us a little bit more about the Viggo Mortensen
Sorry,
news that you
I
found?
couldn't
What is
find.
this news?
I couldn't find
It's
it.
so
I couldn't find what
scuffed.
you wrote. Well, hey Charlie, why don't you please tell us about this Viggo Mortensen news? I'm very excited about.
Yeah, so Viggo Mortensen is in talks of coming back for the new Lord of the Rings movies. Um, I went through my my theories of what the movie will be about, and I think I was correct that it's going to be about when Gollum, when they like looked for Gollum, then brought him to Rivendell, and then he escaped because that was led by Aragorn and Gandalf. So I'm guessing they're recasting Gandalf because Ian McKellen's like 87 now, but they're talking about Viggo Mortensen coming back for Aragorn. They would do like de aging, or he would be in like forward kind of not flashbacks, but forward. What's it called when it's like in the future?
Flash forward.
Flash forward. Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Like flash forwards of like the old King of Gondor, where he'd play that. And he said that he's not opposed to coming back, but he's not going to accept it if he doesn't think he'd be right for it. So I just thought that was cool. That's like kind of all there is, though. He just said like he'd love to come back because he loved the role.
I
This is
think that would
the
make it feel more like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
this is the project that Andy Serkis is directing, right?
Yeah, and it's
Excited for that.
Sounds good to
produced
me.
by Peter Jackson, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Andy Serkis has had a great record directing, but
But
I
this is
love
like
it.
his
I love
character.
his acting. Oh, I
You
love his
didn't love
acting though.
Venom: Let There Be Carnage? I'm sorry. One of the
This is
greatest
Everyone
movies of the
else did
last decade.
apparently.
there's
Yeah.
back-to-back weeks that's coming up.
I have a lot of hope for this though with Andy Serkis because this is like his character.
Yeah,
Like Gollum is him. He is Gollum. So I feel like he would do right by Gollum. You know?
yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about it too.
Yeah.
I mean, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Knives Out 3. We talked about it last week, and then we talked about how we were excited to kind of see who gets cast. Well, they cast a lot of people, so I'll just run through the list. Obviously, Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, who was just in Challengers, Callie Spenny, who has been everywhere recently. She was in Civil War, which Charlie and I didn't like, but I think she was good in that. She's going to be in the new Alien movie coming out later this year. Then Andrew Scott is joining the cast. Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, Jeremy Renner, who I think Jeremy Renner's playing himself in this movie, though. Mila Kunis, and Daryl McCormick so far have joined the cast, and honestly, I'm very excited for this. I think that this is so far is a great cast to my specifically Jeremy Renner, because in Knives Out 2 Glass Onion, he's like in it as it's like him as himself. He has his own hot sauce called Running Hot, so I think he's playing himself, which is going to be
Probably
hilarious.
just some like goofy cameo or something, right? Like, there's
I
no
think
way
he's going to be in it, like
he's
fully
gonna
in
have
it.
like a big role.
I think so.
Okay.
Are
I'm
you guys
for it.
aware of the Jeremy Renner app? Is this something that you know
No.
about?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so Jeremy Renner, like, let me find this. Okay, so Jeremy Renner, like, really thought he is like a big star, and to his fans, he is. So he has the app. He has a music career, obviously, but he has an app. He used to have an app called Jeremy Renner Official. It was a social media website about and for Jeremy Renner that you could join, and it was basically Jeremy Renner fans posting about each other. And it's incredible. Like it's like a lost piece of history that I
When
think
was
is
this?
so. This was like in 2017 to 2019 that he just had a Jeremy Renner app, and you could buy coins on it to then move your comment up higher on Renner's posts, so that he might respond to it. And I'm pretty sure the coins were called Ren coins, which is
This is
just awesome.
this is brilliant. This is
I'm
awesome.
Yeah,
just thinking, at what point are you just like, you know what? I feel like I'm famous enough. I should create an app for myself.
I bet people are dying to let me
Yeah,
respond to their comments.
which is why I would love him to play himself in this Knives Out movie, but it's like a heightened version of himself where he talks about his app and like talks about his music career, and it just seems hilarious.
yeah, that'd be funny.
This connect with two-time Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner on his official app. I wish we still had this app around. Get to know Jeremy and other fans.
Other
But yeah,
fans.
people were on it.
That's
People
crazy.
bought the Ren coins. So
I feel like you're getting into some pretty interesting territory.
yeah,
And no, but I mean, Jeremy Renner, I haven't. He's been in what? Maybe one project since he got injured, or has he not been in anything?
he's got that Mayor of Kingstown show,
Okay,
and then I think that they are talking about a second season of Hawkeye,
Oh,
okay.
and then obviously Avengers: Kang Dynasty, if that ever comes out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think out of this cast, I'm probably most excited for Josh O'Connor. I mean, I
having
really
a year.
liked him in Challengers, and then I wasn't familiar with his game, so I had to do a little research, after I saw Challengers, and I saw because he won a Golden Globe for The
The
Crown.
Crown. He's
And
so good in The Crown.
he was so good, and I'm just thinking to myself like this guy is gonna be huge.
I think so.
I'm hoping. I mean, and then Kaylee Spaney. I loved Priscilla. I think people liked Priscilla. I really liked it. Um, she was great in that. I haven't seen Civil War yet, unfortunately. But if you guys said it wasn't great, that doesn't give me
We came to the conclusion it wasn't for us.
Some people loved it. Like some
Yeah,
people
some people
really
loved it. It just was not for us.
No, I've been there. I get it. But no.
Like we
she's
were reading
fantastic
other
in
reviews
Priscilla.
and we're very confused.
Just people. You guys just saw different movies.
Pretty yeah. He wanted to walk out. He thought it was that bad.
Wow.
I did, yeah. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. I would have if Hunter hadn't been there. Like if I went alone, I would have walked out.
So
I can't. What, do you guys remember the last time you walked out of a movie?
I've never walked out.
I've never walked out. I've seen Cats in theaters and I still have never walked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the only one I can remember is I walked out for. It was like New Mutants. It was like movie theaters
Still
have
haven't seen
been
that.
movie theaters. I mean, technically, I haven't either because I left about 3/4 of the way through, which I never leave for movies. But
You got
this was
that
like
far in and still left?
I was just done. I felt exhausted by this movie. I felt very similar to a movie we had to watch for this week. I was very close to
Nice
just
little
turning
tease.
it off. But I guess we'll get there later.
Yeah. All right. Chuck, I want your opinion on this next thing. So, Nicholas Galantines is going to play He-Man. We've talked about before that He-Man Master of the Universe show, or I guess movie coming out. He was in that movie you just watched, Idea of You. He was the lead.
Oh, okay.
Can this guy be He-Man? He doesn't seem that big.
He-Man. What does he look like?
Ginormous.
That's a big fella.
Yeah, He-Man looks like Chris Hemsworth size, like The Rock size.
I mean, this guy that was in the movie is a very tall guy. If he can put on the weight and somehow get that haircut, then yeah, he could probably do it.
Okay.
I'm
excited for this if this works.
I thought he was. It was kind of a tough movie to like deliver some good acting, deliver some good lines because the lines by themselves were not good. But I thought he was fine. Considering that I didn't think Anne Hathaway was that great because of the script, I think he did as well as he could.
Okay. Because I think He-Man has the potential to be really good if done well. And the director, Travis Knight, I really like. I don't know if you guys have seen Bumblebee, but I think it's one of the best Transformers ever. So, excited for that. I'm excited for He-Man. I like the villain in He-Man.
Who's the
Skeletor.
Skeletor. Is this a video game or an old TV show?
It's an old cartoon.
Oh, okay.
And a toy line.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. Dude, we were watching when we were watching X-Men Origins. I was telling Jenna, I was like, dude, I didn't say dude, but the old Sabretooth, like the comic book Sabretooth compared to what they did in those movies, like comic book Sabretooth is so cool. Just speaking of comics and like old shows,
Yeah.
That's all.
We've never really had a good Sabretooth.
I know. We had the really jank one in, what was it, X2? When he looked all hairy and weird and gross.
I think that was X1 we had him, and then he wasn't in X2.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, he was in
killed.
He was, at the end of X1, and then we had...
Then we had Victor.
Origins.
Yeah. What's his name? Liev something?
Yeah, Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, Liev Schreiber. I thought he was cooler. Like, he was a cooler Sabretooth than that jank one we had in X-Men. But yeah, we haven't had a comic book Sabretooth that looks like... Hold on. Now that we're on it.
He might be in Deadpool Wolverine.
I hope so. Yeah, this is so jank. Are you kidding me? What is that?
Yeah, I know. There was a rumor, I think, for a long time that in Logan, the other Wolverine was supposed to be Sabretooth, and then it just never worked out with timing, so they just made it another Wolverine. Which honestly would be probably cooler if it was Sabretooth.
Yeah. It probably would have.
We have some Wolverine talk later on in this pod.
That's so cool.
I know he does look cool. The suit. Well, they never did the suits in live action until finally.
Why is it on? Whatever.
Hey man, you're gonna get your Sabretooth one day. Don't worry.
That's
Just like I'm gonna get Cyclops
with
one
like
day.
that
Don't
really
worry.
thick yellow coat.
Yeah, it's
in the-
nice. It's real nice. I know. Sometimes, Jack, now that you're on the pod, you have to just console this guy because he wants specific things. And one day he'll get it. So it'll be okay.
Whatever.
Well, he's getting a new one right now because Netflix is teaming up with Minecraft, and we're getting a Minecraft animated show. So, who's excited? And the crowd goes silent. Oh, you are?
I'm
actually?
not excited.
Oh.
That sounds terrible.
It looks
Especially
decent. They did
like if it was
teaser.
HBO, then fine. I'd think, wow, that's gonna be a good show. But because it's Netflix, what's the point?
It's just so weird they're doing this though, because the movie's supposed to come out, right? The movie's live action, and then this is an animated show that looks like Minecraft. Why isn't this just what the movie is?
Is this just gonna be like Minecraft stories, but you lose the ability to play?
I think it'd be cool to just. I assume so. I assume it's probably a kids' family show, but why is it not?
It's
I don't know.
Adult
We don't
Swim.
really let. Yeah, it's just like very raunchy.
That'd be awesome, actually, if it was Adult Swim, an Adult Swim Minecraft TV show.
They should just have it follow Steve, and the season arc is him getting to Minecraft. The season ending is him beating the Ender Dragon. That's the first season.
What's the second season then?
Maybe he starts to create a world.
Bed
Well, he's got,
Wars.
and he goes to what, the end? No, wait, the end is where the Ender Dragon is. I don't know. Maybe he finds a way to get to different worlds or something.
He goes on online servers and plays Bed Wars. He goes
Yeah.
on hypixel.net.
Yeah, he creates his own
Shameless
servers,
Hypixel
just
plug.
starts monetizing it.
Yeah.
He downloads mods to his world. I don't know. I'm not very excited for this, but I thought we'd mention it. All right. Do you want to do the Pixar news first or the Marvel news first?
Jack, you decide.
We'll talk with Pixar. I feel like Marvel's something that's easy to talk about all the time.
Pixar they talked about their financial kind of failures over the last few years. Talked about Turning Red and Elemental and a couple other things, and they talked about how a lot of issues there. Lightyear was another big flop for them. So they kind of are taking a step back, and they're moving to mass appeal movies instead of doing smaller or director-driven stories, which I think is a bad thing, but can't really change it because we're just a podcast for now. But they're talking about rebooting a couple things and doing some new sequels. So obviously we're getting a new Toy Story. That's coming out, I think, next year or the following year. But they're talking about a new Finding Nemo and a new Incredibles. I would love a new Incredibles.
I concur.
That actually feels like an Incredibles 2 instead of what Incredibles 2 was. I don't want Finding Nemo 3.
See, I just feel like some of these movies, the bar is set so high
Yeah.
that even when you make a second, for The Incredibles, the first Incredibles is just peak Pixar. I don't think it gets much better than that. But then they say they're coming out with the second one, everyone sees it, and everyone immediately dogs on this movie. But in reality, the movie, I don't remember Incredibles 2 to be it's not
It's fine.
the rise. It's not the rise of Skywalker. I mean,
Yeah.
I still have a good time when I watch it. But
It's just fine. It's a fine movie. Same with Finding Dory. They're both fine movies. It's just that, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it earlier with Inside Out. Compared to all these other Pixar movies, these new, I really liked Soul, but a lot of these new Pixar movies just don't really have that same kind of effect. And maybe it's because we're older, but movies like Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, Incredibles, they're just so good. You can't really. And then making a second one's or a third one for that matter,
Yeah, I think them going with what is popular for them would possibly make me not want to watch like another Pixar movie like ever again.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because of their first 10 movies, only one was a sequel,
Toy
and the
Story
other
2.
ones are all. It was Toy Story 2, yeah.
And that was good.
Yes, and then if you count 11, they had two sequels, but Toy Story 3 I think is also very great. So it's like, but I think the thing is that this they went away from these original stories that I think do have mass appeal, but they're original. And I think that's the difference that they're not looking at going forward.
Yeah. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I think it was like 2015 that they announced that Finding Nemo was getting a sequel. And I was
Yeah,
hyped. And I think everyone was stoked. Like, holy shit, we're getting a sequel. And now, every time they announce a sequel, it's like, bruh, another sequel. Maybe that's just me, but it's just getting kind of tired.
Like I don't think anyone says that their favorite Pixar movie is a sequel. I mean, maybe if it's Toy Story 2 for you or Toy Story 3. Like, but I feel like that's like it's in a very unique like subgroup. Like, I
Yeah.
think the Toy Story like movies get better as you go on. But I think all the other sequels and stuff that they've released since then haven't been
Yeah.
nearly as good.
Yeah.
I also think it's just when they treat their audience like adults, it works better. Because like looking at like the Pixar movies right now, the ones that treat like children like an average children's movie, I think are worse than the ones that treat children like adults. Like I feel like The Incredibles and even like Ratatouille and Wally, like that's my top three. And I feel like that doesn't treat children like, oh, there's a kids movie in the same vein as other ones that, just like a fart joke every 2 minutes, where it actually treats them like adults who can handle a story. And that's why I like Soul so much. Of like its last
Yeah.
outings, like I think Soul is an incredible film that maybe is geared a little bit more so than it needs to be to adults, but I think that it works really well because it doesn't treat its audience like children.
They're like deeper stories. Like, Wally's about Earth getting like destroyed pretty much and then going back.
Yeah,
And it's like so much deeper. And then Soul, I mean, I feel like I don't even have to say how it's deeper. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot more to get into and a lot more to follow along with.
yeah.
And it's kind of hard to.
Have you guys?
No, you're good. You're good. I was
No,
about to ramble. So,
no, I was just saying. Have you guys seen Luca?
Yes,
uh-uh.
I liked it.
I loved it. I
I haven't
mean,
seen
Yeah,
it.
I loved it, and I think like Coco, Luca. I mean, probably what
I
those movies
really
were
love
released
Coco.
dang near like 6 years ago. But I wouldn't even put it past to say that those are like old, like they're not like Ratatouille, Cars. They're not like the original Pixar movies. I'd still consider those to be like somewhat new. And then you throw Soul into that category. Like, I guess like Elemental and like Turning Red, I guess those are the new ones. But I don't think just because those two and then Lightyear haven't done amazing that should be like, you know what, I think we're done here. Let's just stick to
Yeah.
characters that people know.
Because like even Lightyear is a character people know, but it just didn't do well, and I think that was for a multitude of reasons. But Disney Plus really did hurt the brand of Pixar because you'd have the day and date releases, or it would just go straight to streaming, and people are like, oh, I'll just wait. So I think you need to remake Pixar to be that brand that is only in theaters, and it's a theater experience, as
Yeah.
we've talked about before, how important that is. And it seems like they're doing that because it was yesterday they announced that Inside Out 2 is getting a 100-day theatrical window, no matter what. So it's just going to stay in theaters for 100 days. And I think that's what you should do. Like it's not that complicated to keep things in theaters because Elemental, that's how it made money. It stayed in theaters and it just kept chugging away, and kept getting more box office. And that's how it should go. So cool. All right, let's do our Marvel talk that we have to do every single week. Blade is getting rewritten again. This movie is never coming out. It's never coming out.
Well,
It really sucks.
I'd rather rewrite it like 50 times and then us have to wait like 10 years. And then 10 years from now, we're like, man, that Blade movie was really good.
Yeah,
And then just be like, let's just drop this Blade movie already. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think we'll get it, but at least it's not a bad movie.
I hope so.
In theory.
So,
Yeah.
in
What do you
Comic-Con
think?
2019 is when Mahershala Ali came out on stage and said, "We're doing Blade." And then it was revealed that Mahershala Ali was actually the one who went to Marvel and said, "I want to do Blade." They had a first script in March 2021. They had a director attached. It was supposed to release initially in 2022. The 2022 came and went. Film was going to release November 3rd, 2023. That came and went. It is now for a 2024 release, which is come and gone. And now it is February 14th, 2025, which I think is getting pushed again. Oh, yes, now it's moved to November 2025. So, this ain't ever coming.
No.
Which
I
stinks.
saw-
Blade is cool.
I saw Mahershala Ali also is in the running to
Oh, the Jurassic Park.
in the
I thought
Jurassic
it was-
Park
I
movie.
thought it was for sure that he got it.
No, maybe he did, but I was like, well, even the fact that he's considering it, it's like, well,
Blade's still a ways away. Which is so
Yeah.
weird because we got a tease of Blade at the end of Eternals. So it's like we've seen him. Well, not seen him. We heard him on screen. Like
We've gotten
that
a-
long ago.
We've gotten a lot of teasers, to be fair, of a lot of different things. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
like Harry Styles is in the MCU. What's
Harry
he gonna do?
Styles. We have what? Hercules is in the MCU now.
Um,
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, remember the end of Doctor Strange?
White Vision.
1?
Oh yeah.
Well, we're getting the White Vision show. The end of Doctor Strange 1, though, that guy comes back. Mordo, or whatever his name is. Oh, the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. We got the Scorpion tease that's gone nowhere, which I hope is going to be in Spider-Man 4. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah. The at the end of Eternals, also the giant, like, what was it? The
Celestial.
Celestial. Yeah, the Celestial is like coming out of the water, which I guess is supposed to be the main thing about Captain America: Brave New World, which is actually our next topic. We got two things for that. Giancarlo Esposito, best known probably for Breaking Bad, is joining Captain America: Brave New World as a mysterious villain role. Apparently, he's only going to be in it for a
Classic.
few minutes, and then it's going to be him as the main villain of a tie-in Marvel series, which, yay.
Oh.
I know. But they're doing a reshoot, and it's only 22 days. A 22-day reshoot is pretty short, so that's pretty good. And it seems like all the reshoot is to just add some more action scenes, which sounds good to me. I'm pretty excited for this movie. I really love Sam Wilson. I think that show is one of the best that Marvel's done, and I'm really excited to see kind of where they take the next era of Captain America, because this is really the only time, I guess, the first time they've handed a character moniker to someone else. So this has a lot of pressure on it, but I think it can be done well. I mean, you have Harrison Ford in this. Like,
Yep.
this seems exciting.
Yep.
You just gotta stick the landing. If this is just like okay, it can be real annoying. I think people talking about it.
Well, Deadpool 3. That's the one that needs to win.
Yes,
That one
but I
can be a
think this
winner.
is
Then I think Disney's gonna still be afloat, even if Brave New World is not great.
well. Here's my
Deadpool
thought on
3 is
that.
bad. They might
Is that
be
Deadpool
capped.
is so disassociated though. It's like its own thing. Yes, it's in the MCU now, but like Deadpool is its own brand. The MCU is like a thing in and of itself. Where like, I think that
I
this
know.
needs to be. I think this is the true test. I think I do. I think that Deadpool is going to succeed no matter what. I think this is the true test. Is right here.
I think it's Deadpool. Jack, what do you think? You're the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like we've been saying this for the past like 3 years. Oh well, this is like going to be the make or break for Marvel for me, and it's always like one bad movie, one good movie, one bad movie. Like I honestly, like I think I was at Quantumania. I was like, Quantumania can't flop. Like I need this to be good. I just that movie was just a disaster for me. But then Guardians was amazing. So I'm just like, it's really tough. I mean, honestly, I think Deadpool now that they're throwing in the portal for Doctor Strange and they're gonna throw in a bunch of cameos and stuff. I mean, I guess it is the MCU now, so it needs to succeed though. It needs to succeed.
So the next movies we have Deadpool, Wolverine, Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Blade. I'm pretty excited for all of those. I think that Blade is going to get pushed to 2026, and I think Fantastic Four is going to take the November spot from Blade because it hasn't even started filming yet. It's supposed to come out next July. So I think that's going to move, but I think Captain America has a lot riding on his shoulders. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Last thing from the MCU is they revealed the Deadpool popcorn bucket.
I mean,
Okay, I'm glad
I'm gonna buy it, but
I just think it ruins the joke. Like, I think it's funny, but it also, the reason why Dune was so funny, it was because it was unintentional. This is just very on the nose.
that's like Deadpool. To be fair,
True.
it literally says designed by Deadpool,
Yeah.
which I think it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that.
I also think it's pretty cool. Like that looks pretty.
I
cool.
do like the face looks like funny.
I was pretty amped originally to see what this popcorn bucket looked like because I was gonna get the Dune one, but I wasn't able to because they didn't have it.
Dude,
where I
the
was
Dune,
Right there. Right
the
there.
Dune one is selling for like $200 on eBay.
Really?
Should have got two of them.
I was
Really
going to
close.
get like 3 of them, and then I was like, nah. Snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
I probably would have sold it to like Greg, to be honest, for like $30 because he didn't get one.
Yeah.
No, but I mean I missed out on that one, so I was hoping this one was gonna be a banger. But I just
I'll probably
I
get
don't
this
know.
one.
I will too.
I gotta be strategic. I don't have that much space. I don't know where I'm gonna be living. I gotta
That's
try.
true.
I gotta figure out how much I can keep.
I just keep everything in my parents' house and just keep it all there.
Get it one day.
Yeah.
All right, and then Chris Hemsworth. We have two Chris Hemsworth Transformers news. Number one, the Transformers movie coming out later this year, Transformers 1, has the highest test scores ever at Paramount Animation, which doesn't sound that exciting until you realize that Paramount Animation was also the ones that had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that came out last year, Mutant Mayhem, which I think, at least Charlie and I don't know about your thoughts, Jack, we thought was pretty great.
I love
So
that movie.
that really gets me excited for Transformers 1, because I thought this looked really bad, and apparently it's really good. So,
The animated one?
yeah, I thought Transformers 1 looked not good.
The trailer that came out like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that did not look good.
Yeah, it looked terrible.
So apparently it's pretty decent.
Alright, cool. Hand up, we were wrong.
Well, not yet. We have to see it still.
True.
And then the other piece of news is that Chris Hemsworth is in talks to star in the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie. I assume as a G.I. Joe. I'm very excited for this movie. I think this is going to be so dumb, but so fun.
That would
if
make
they
too
do it
much
the right way.
sense if Chris Hemsworth played a G.I. Joe in a crossover movie.
Okay, well, he's voicing Optimus Prime right now, buddy. So.
No, I know. I'm saying it'd be a good thing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
Like, you look at him, that is a G.I. Joe.
I just am excited to see, like, Megatron team up with, what was it, the Cobra? Yeah, Cobra is the bad guys in G.I. Joe. I think this is going to be great. So we'll see. But, yeah, I don't know. Are we Transformers guys? I'm not really a Transformer guy.
I've actually never seen a Transformers movie.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious.
That'd be a great one to do this week, is you watch the first Transformers and let us know. Because I think that's a great film.
Yeah, I'll have to check my calendar, make sure I'm not doing anything this week. But if I
Oh,
have
yeah, I
time,
forgot.
I'll definitely watch Transformers.
I'm in the same boat. I haven't seen a Transformers movie. I mean, I think I saw the last like half of Bumblebee because my friend was like, "Dude, you gotta watch this. This movie's awesome."
It is good.
And it's pretty good. It's hard to miss with Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
So that was a blast. But other than that, I know people rave about some of them, but to me, I'm just like, I don't know.
I like the Michael Bay ones. All right. I think Jack, you put this one in there. We Live in Time.
I did.
You put that in there?
Hmm.
Nice, Jack. Wow, very sophisticated for you. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
The romantic comedy with I think it's more romance drama than comedy
Yeah.
with Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. It's releasing October this year. I mean, this is like a
Andrew
movie for
Garfield
us.
is one of my probably top 5 favorite actors, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, and
I
I am
love
the biggest
Andrew
Florence
Garfield.
Pugh fan around, so
Yeah.
it's kind of for us.
Hmm.
I like these smaller movies that are coming to theaters, right? Like the big name stars. It's it's great. It's like a throwbacky to the past. So I'm excited for this. We Live in Time. Well, I think we haven't got a lot of that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like a
no,
lot of
yeah,
this stuff goes to streaming.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I'm with it. Yeah.
Like even
It's fun.
Challenger is a great example of that too. Like Challenger is a movie that is very '90s, early 2000s of style that we just haven't gotten in a while. So I'm in.
And
And have you guys seen the It movies?
yes,
Okay, did you like them?
fine. I don't really like horror, so
Bill
Well,
Skarsgård rocks, man. He's a beast.
he's coming back because they're doing a TV show called Welcome to Derry on Max, so you know it's going to be good. And it's about the origins of Pennywise, and it's in the 1960s. Sure, I'm pretty in on this. I guess
I'm not gonna watch it. I can tell you right now, I will not be watching it.
that's okay. Hey, you do you, man. I really like those movies quite a bit, and so I think I'm excited to see more about it. And I like the mythology of Pennywise.
You know, Hunter, if you really like those movies, you should read the book.
The book is different, like very different. I know.
Well, you can compare them. If you really like the
Well,
movies and the
so
origins and the idea of it, then if you read the book, maybe
in the
you have a
book though
deeper.
that I know, there's like a cosmic turtle that shows up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Pennywise's like kryptonite. This cosmic
Yeah, this
turtle.
cosmic turtle. That unfortunately, I think I'm not. It's not for me. The cosmic turtle is not for me.
If anything, I feel like the cosmic turtle is like better. They should have included that in the film. The kids
You're
are all
right.
like about to die, and then this turtle comes out of nowhere, and
Also, this book is okay. I looked it up. The book is over 1,000 pages.
yeah, it's Stephen King. It's a big book.
That's too many pages.
Okay.
Like, no, thank you.
All right.
I'll just watch the movies again.
Jack, are you a big reader?
Uh, I mean, if I have time,
Yeah, like
if
I'll
it,
read if I have to read.
That's actually not what Jack said at all, but
I think I
Well, that's
like
what
to. I like to. It's just kind of carving out the time to do so. On
gotcha.
vacation, I think it's a lot of fun. So like, but normally with the chaos of school and whatnot, I feel like it's kind of hard to be like, you know what, I'm in a reading mood right now.
That's fair.
So during the summer, I think it's pretty easy though, especially if it's something I like.
I
Very
agree. I
fair.
think I've had to read a lot for like school and stuff, and that's like hurt my feeling about reading.
Yeah,
So I think now that I have the time where I can read for pleasure, I think that I'll do that more.
I do think that you have to find the kinds of books that you enjoy to read. Because like a lot of the books in school, if you don't really enjoy, you're gonna like resent reading. But if you find like a certain genre or series that you really like and get into them,
Yeah,
because there are a lot of books that I've tried to read and I'm like, this is just like the worst. And I like to read, but it kind of depends if the material is something that's interesting to me.
You're a big Colleen Hoover fan, huh?
Yeah, I love her.
Real page turner.
Yeah. Can't put the book down.
I just gotta see what's gonna happen next. Oh, there it is. All right. Have you guys seen 300?
Mm-mm.
This is a new. This is a recent addition to my watch list. It's pretty crazy. I went through like a Zack Snyder. I have to understand why people love this guy, so I watched 300. It's crazy, so I recommend watching it. Like it's just a bunch of jacked dudes doing Spartan things. Pretty awesome. They're making a 300 TV show coming to. It's Warner Brothers Television, so I don't know where it's going to end up. It might be Max, might be Amazon, might be Netflix, but I think that's pretty cool. I guess I don't know. I don't think everything needs a TV show.
I agree. I don't think everything needs a TV show. I watched the first like 5 minutes of 300. It seemed pretty interesting.
Okay, yeah. The first like where he's like a kid and he fights that wolf.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's about as
I
far as
remember
I
it.
got. Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
because
Hey.
we were like, this was last weekend. We were at the like when we went to Indy for the Indy 500. We were about to
Okay.
leave to go home, and that morning, Jenna's cousin turned on 300. So I watched like the first 5 or 10 minutes, then we left. But yeah, it's good, fine.
My biggest complaint about 300 is that there's a sequel to 300 and it's called 300 Rise of an Empire. Shouldn't it be called 301?
I was literally
Like,
thinking I wish it was called 301.
right? That would sound cooler, like 301. Oh well. Can't win them all. Last but certainly not least, the Michael Jackson biopic has finished filming and it is now in post-production, so we will get it later next year, which I think comes out in March.
Hooray.
We talked about this before you were on the pod, Jack, but about our feeling about musical biopics,
Too many.
how we weren't super interested because there's too many of them.
Too many.
This one I'm pretty interested in. I think if you're going to do these musical biopics, you need to pick people who are larger than life to do them about. That's why I think Rocket Man works so well, why Elvis works so well. If you did like the Beatles, I'm
Luke
excited for that.
Combs.
Yeah, for sure.
In like 30 years, Luke Combs.
Yeah, Luke Combs.
Luke Combs would just be like him, just like sitting on the porch, just drinking a beer.
But
you know
they
who
have
they could
a
do?
Jackson.
What's his name? Shoot, he just passed away. Pina Colada.
Oh,
Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett.
yeah, Jimmy Buffett.
It'd be cool if they had a Jimmy Buffett one.
That'd be vibes, bro. Get
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino to take that over. That'd be awesome. I'm telling you.
Well, have you guys? The Weird Al one is very good. I thought the Weird Al biopic is like a parody of biopics because that's Weird Al is known for his parody songs. So it just like makes up a fake story about the origin of Weird Al. It's very good. I recommend if you haven't seen it. It's free to watch on the Roku channel, which I don't know why I had a subscription to that, but I did. I think it's free, so I don't know. I just feel like there aren't that many like earth-shattering stars anymore, though, in music. Like when we're older, are they gonna make like what, a Taylor Swift biopic or
Oh,
like
yes, they are.
The Weeknd?
Tate McRae.
Oh,
Yeah, true.
the
Taylor
weekend, the weekend biopic would be quite.
Kenny Chesney would be
hilarious.
pretty cool.
Drake.
So
I'm pumped for the Michael Jackson movie.
I think, and it's directed by Anton Fuqua, who I like. So
I think the Elvis movie did it the best visually.
I love Elvis.
I don't love I think there's some choices in that movie that I would prefer to be a little bit different. But I think visually it's just so appealing.
Yeah.
And I think if you can do something similar with Michael Jackson, who had these crazy outfits, this crazy life, I think if you could do something like that, I think it's just going to be a blast, regardless of how well or poorly this was directed.
Agreed. All right, let's get into trailers and then let's talk Star Wars. We'll speed through these trailers. Number one, Tomb Raider animated series trailer for Netflix. I thought the trailer looked pretty good. I'm excited for Haley Atwell to voice the titular Lara Croft. I've only played a few of the games and very little, so I don't really have a ton of feelings towards this, but it looks good.
I never played either.
So, and they're doing the live action one at Amazon. So, if you don't like this, just wait a little longer and you'll get your different version of Tomb Raider. That's all we have on it. It's not. I don't know. It didn't really show up.
You came out with a movie in what, like 2018?
So yeah, there were the two in the early 2000s with what's her name? Angelina Jolie, and then there was the 2018 one. Yeah, which I thought the 2018 one was decent.
Yeah,
It's like it was like a 6 out of 10, like kind of the definition of 3 stars. But next up is Wolves, directed by John Watts, starring George Clooney and Brad Pitt. I really like this trailer. I thought this trailer looked great. I do have one major complaint about this trailer, but I'll let you guys go first if you have thoughts on it. Unless you don't, then that's fine too.
I think Brad Pitt's at an interesting point in his career where I think he's having a lot of fun.
I agree.
It kind of
I think
it seemed like Bullet Train a little bit.
Similar
I'm all
vibes.
for Bullet Train. I'm all for Bullet Train vibes.
I love Bullet Train.
And that was a movie where I originally saw it on a trailer. And I'm like, Brad Pitt, what are you doing, man? But it's like it's a personal favorite. It's awesome, and I think if they can even halfway recreate what was created in Bullet Train, this movie would be a massive success.
Yeah.
Only complaint about this at all is that this movie feels more like a New York movie than John Watts' entire Spider-Man trilogy from a trailer. And that makes me very annoyed. But, that's just me.
I think that is just you.
Did you not? I was like, oh, this is a very New York movie. And then it's like, oh, John Watts. Where were you for the last 3 movies you made? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, this last one I'm not going to have a lot to talk about because I'm not the biggest fan of the first one, but Moana 2. I know Charlie, you like Moana 2, right?
Yeah, I like Moana.
Are you excited for Moana 2?
No.
Oh, okay.
Again, I'm not like a huge sequel guy though. Like Frozen 2 I loved Frozen. Frozen 2 was kind of just like forgettable. So I imagine that Moana is going to be kind of the same thing. Like I really liked the first one. I think the music was goated, and I think like not animation because all the animation's kind of the same, but like I thought the way that they kind of drew or depicted like a Caribbean kind of place area was really beautiful, and I really liked all the visuals, and I really liked in this trailer that one scene where it's just like Moana and the enormous whale. Like I thought that was really cool, and I hope that they do a really good job on the visuals again. But I imagine it's going to be forgettable. Like it's probably going to be a 2.5 star, very average, just a sequel.
Mm-hmm. Are you more excited for this or the live action Moana?
Ooh, probably this.
Okay.
If I'm being honest.
I'm going live action.
I also going to go live action. I don't know why it seems very weird to me so that's why I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I was just kidding. I'm more excited for the live action too.
No, hey, no. Stick to your guns, man. Stick to your guns.
Yeah.
All right, well that's it for news and trailers. Let's talk some Star Wars. All right. How do you want to do this? Because the reason we're doing this is because at the end of last week I talked about how I think I don't like Star Wars anymore, or it's not for me.
Then I think you got to start, and you gotta.
Okay, so do you want me to give my
Acknowledge
new rankings?
Like, I mean, give your new take on Star Wars, like whether or not you like it, and then you can do your rankings.
All right. So my new take on Star Wars. I do like Star Wars. I think that I've really changed my opinion of it, though, from when I was, like, 11 to now. And I think that I never really noticed it until this rewatch, because a lot of stuff that I loved during the rewatch was stuff that I thought was just fine when I was younger. And a lot of stuff I loved when I was younger, I think is just fine, if not great now. And so what I've come out of Star Wars feeling is that I love the stories of the people versus the heroes, if that makes sense. We'll get into more of it, I guess, as we go along. But I love the Star Wars that focuses on those individuals who are making a difference versus the mythology of Star Wars. And I think that that'll make sense as I do my rankings. So let me get my rankings, and then we'll talk about it.
Hold on, I gotta pull up my rankings so I can compare.
All right, I'll start from worst to best. So in number 11th, I have The Rise of Skywalker at 1 star.
Who else has that?
Yeah. All right, we all at last. All right. At number 10, I have Episode 2: Attack of the Clones at 1.5 stars. All right. At number 9,
We're on a
I
roll.
have 2 stars, The Phantom Menace. All right, Jack and Aaron.
Lost me there.
All right. At number 8, I have Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith at 3 stars.
Ooh.
At number 7, I have Return of the Jedi, 3.5 stars. At number 6, I have The Force Awakens, 4 stars. At number 5, I have Star Wars with 4 stars. At number 4, I have Solo, A Star Wars Story at 4.5 stars. At number 3, I have Star Wars The Last Jedi at 4.5 stars. At number 2, I have Empire Strikes Back at 5 stars. And at number 1, I have Rogue One, A Star Wars Story at 5 stars.
We've got very different lists, my friend.
I watched the light drain from Charlie's eyes as I kept reading that list.
We've got very different lists.
So
that's okay. That's completely
the biggest
okay.
change for me of this list from the list I had previous was bringing up Rogue One and Solo and dropping Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, which are movies I still like. I just think that they are so weak in a lot of parts that it hurts the whole. Yet they also have great parts. I think that the end of Revenge of the Sith is incredible, and the opening is great. It's the middle that really bogs it down for me, and I think Return of the Jedi plays it so safe. It's harms the movie, because that's why I think Empire is so strong, is because it's so different from what Star Wars offered. But then Return of the Jedi basically does A New Hope again, with just a couple different planets, which is just The Force Awakens, because that's all The Force Awakens is it's A New Hope plus different things. The only reason why Force Awakens is higher is because I really love Rey and Finn. I think that they are great characters that really were hurt by The Rise of Skywalker. Because I think Rey had a shot to be up there with my top 3 favorite Star Wars characters, especially after The Last Jedi. And it just really fell apart with The Rise of Skywalker. Which Charlie is just real thrown off by this sentence, it feels like.
I tuned out in the middle of it looking for our old Star Wars lists, and I should have been multitasking. I did a very bad job.
So,
sorry.
I think our biggest discrepancy probably The Last Jedi, which seems to be the biggest discrepancy for the entire franchise for people.
I think you
and Revenge of the Sith.
Then Revenge of the Sith is the other one.
You and I have very different, I think, ideas of the franchise.
I would agree.
We can talk about that. But yeah, so.
Okay, so with that, I guess, Jack, why don't you give your opinion on what Star Wars is for you? If that makes sense. Or like maybe what you look for in the Star Wars movie.
Well, for me, I'm just like looking for this whole universe is just absurd. I mean, you have like lightsabers, which is arguably like the coolest prop known to man. Like it's so cool, and the fact that you really don't get a lot of it in the first few really plays to how good they are, because it doesn't rely on these big like lightsaber battles. I think you can just really rely on the chemistry between the main characters. But I think with how awesome it is, you need to find like a middle ground. And I think that's where the newer ones do a good job of just showcasing all these amazing things. I mean, you in The Last Jedi, you get when they go into light speed and they just like fly through the
The holdo maneuver.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome.
Amazing. I love the holdo. It's beautiful.
And it's stuff like that I feel like they should be doing more of. But then I think sometimes they can overdo it, which if we want to get into The Last Jedi later, I think we can talk about that.
I think we need to, because that I know is Charlie and I's biggest discrepancy.
I guess we can, but I'm just saying I think they're at their best when they are showing the amazing things that this universe offers, but not overdoing it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess I'll just hop into The Last Jedi.
We can also hear your ranking too.
Yeah, I'll throw the ranking, and then we can talk about The Last Jedi after Charlie gives his ranking. But so I didn't watch Rogue One or Solo this past week. I've seen Rogue One. I'd probably say it's like either in the middle or towards the front of the pack, from what I can remember. But obviously, it's not in this ranking. So number 9, we got The Rise of Skywalker. No surprise there. And then I have Star Wars 2, Attack of the Clones. And I got The Phantom Menace at 7. And then at 6, I have The Last Jedi. And at 5, I have Return of the Jedi. Number 4, I have Star Wars. Number 3, I have The Force Awakens. 2, I have The Empire Strikes Back. And then 1, I have Revenge of the Sith.
Charles,
we all have very different lists. I'm coming to those.
All right, so then what's your ranking, Charles?
Okay, well, I guess I'll kind of go through what I look for in Star Wars, since you guys did as well.
Yeah.
I think the idea of the Force is like fascinating, and I think that's kind of the essence of Star Wars. Now, that being said, along with Hunter, I do think the stories about non-Force wielders are really interesting and give the universe a lot more depth, and I guess a lot more relatable too, because like these normal people can stand up for what's right and have like a really large impact. So I like the holdo. It's the holdo. That's what it is. Holdo maneuver. I did like that because someone who's not a Force wielder was able to do all of that. Rogue One, same thing. All these people that aren't Force wielders or familiar with the Force, like they can do all of this for the rebellion. But what's interesting to me though is like the stories with the Force, because that's kind of like the main part of Star Wars, like Luke and Darth Vader, that whole relationship, Rey and Kylo, that whole relationship, or in the prequels, Obi-Wan and Anakin and their story. I think that's kind of what Star Wars is about, and understanding the Force. My favorite part of The Last Jedi is how they depicted the Force. I think the way that they depicted the Force was brilliant. Like when Rey and Luke are in that scene where they're like, she's comparing all like these chaotic things and like dark things versus all these good and peaceful and growth.
And like
I think that was really good. Like I thought that was a really great depiction of the Force. And I just think balancing what's good and what's bad was my favorite part of the rewatch, because there are so many different ways to look at the Force. Like in Rogue One, I forget his name, but that guy who's like, I'm one with the Force is with me.
Force is with me. Yes. Love that. I
think all these different Force depictions all come together and make like a really cool story about what the Force really is. They're Jedi like Qui-Gon, who are like a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, but he doesn't really go with the Jedi necessarily. He's a little bit more
Like
like,
traditional.
yeah, he's more traditional and he has his beliefs on the Force. Whereas like other Jedi, really traditional Jedi, are like kind of by the books and have these
Okay.
thoughts. But like as a Jedi, you see Qui-Gon, you see Obi-Wan, they kind of deviate from the Jedi Order because they do what they think is right by the Force, you know?
Yeah.
So I just think all these different Force depictions are super cool. And that's my favorite part of Star Wars. So I'll go through my rankings. Number 10, Rise of Skywalker. Number 9, Attack of the Clones. I gave those respectively 1 and 1.5 stars. Number 8's The Last Jedi. I gave it 2.5. Number 7's The Force Awakens. I gave that 3.5. Number 6, Phantom Menace. I gave that 3. I gave that a lower rating than Force Awakens. I just really like that movie. Number 5, I gave is Star Wars: A New Hope. 3.5 stars. 4, Rogue One. 4 stars. 3's Revenge of the Sith, 3 stars. 2's Empire Strikes Back, 4.5, and then 1 was Return of the Jedi, and I gave that 5. And both of you, I think Jack, you had it the highest, and you had like ranked number 5. I didn't realize I liked that movie as much as I did. In fact, when I was looking at the Star Wars rankings, Hunter, I don't even think I put Return of the Jedi.
I lowered it at rewatching it
I
this
didn't. I don't
time.
think it was in my top 5. And rewatching it, I just thought it was such a great capstone to what Star Wars was, especially watching from the prequels going on, like just seeing the conclusion, like Anakin finally redeeming himself, Luke being able to resist the Emperor after the Emperor took advantage of his dad, and
Yeah.
basically Luke saving his father. I just thought it was a really great way to end the original trilogy. And I really love the ending scene with that music where like all these Force ghosts come and Luke's just kind of like,
I have an issue with that scene.
you don't like that, really? I really like that.
I no, I love that scene. My issue is that now it's Hayden Christensen.
Well, I mean, I
It
think it's
should.
fine.
I think it should stay the older Anakin. It really takes me out of it every time I watch it because it's like old Obi-Wan, Yoda. Hey, here's like 25-year-old Hayden Christensen.
But like it shows Anakin like when he was good, which is I think the purpose of it because Anakin wasn't
I
good and
yeah,
like he was.
but he's good at the end.
I know, but like I see where you're coming from. I like it, but anyway, that's my Star Wars take, and I also have a take of why I don't like A New Hope and the prequels as much as Empire and Return of the Jedi. But we can talk about The Last Jedi.
Talk about the list. Should I talk about? So you both don't like it, or at least have it lower on your list. Should I talk about why I love it?
Sure.
Okay, I think it fundamentally understands the Jedi and Luke on a level that is unprecedented in the series. I think it understands Rey and Kylo, and I do think it might have my favorite lightsaber battle in the entire franchise, along with my favorite ending. So, starting with that first part about Luke. Luke leaving and going to hide out on this planet, I think makes perfect sense. He wanted to restart the Jedi. He ended the Return of the Jedi with this hope, and his first mentee was his sister Leia, and that makes perfect sense to me. Why would he not start with his sibling, who he found out is also the daughter of Darth Vader? It's someone he trusts, one of his best, closest, if not his best friend, and it makes perfect sense to me that she would have Force powers by this point. I mean, think about it for yourself. If you had a sibling, wouldn't you want to train them to have these amazing powers as well? So people who complain about that, of Leia coming back to the ship, I think is crazy. It makes perfect sense that she would be able to do that. She is the daughter of Darth Vader. Then, understanding Luke. Luke, yes, he's a hero. And yes, he is the embodiment of the Jedi. But he's also a character with a deep darkness inside of him, which even at the end of Return of the Jedi we saw because of the way he battles Vader, is he uses his anger repeatedly. He doesn't fight elegantly in the same way that Obi-Wan does, or the same way that even Qui-Gon did. He fights with anger, and I think that's a big distinction for him compared to other characters, even with all of his training with with Yoda, it wasn't the same. And I think that anger does have a fear sense in him, but also makes him make mistakes, which is what he did with Ben Kenobi, or Ben whatever Skywalker, and that's why he failed. And the same thing happened again, where Anakin basically this mirrored moment, a time where Ben became the Anakin and destroyed the next generation of Jedi, and then that made Luke so bitter he ran away. And I think that makes a lot of sense for his character because, yes, he was a hero, but also he was a person who wanted to do something greater, and then he finally did and failed, and he just thought it was his fault, and so he ran away. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And Rey being a nobody makes Star Wars infinitely better, in my opinion. Her being a Palpatine actively hurts this franchise because I think it goes against what Star Wars is supposed to be about. That anyone can be the hero, that it doesn't matter if you have the Force or don't have the Force. You can change everything just by being a better person. And that's what Rey learns, and that's honestly what Finn learns, where he went from a guy who cleaned the bathrooms on Star Destroyers to being a hero of the Resistance and inspiring people to join him, which is honestly what Star Wars is all about. And I think that is really important and really well done in this movie. And even Poe has an awesome arc in this film, where he goes from the hotshot who thinks he just needs to blast his way through everything in the opening, which is incredible, by the way, to a person who knows he has to be that person who has restraint. And at the end, in that final scene, you see him call off the attack, which is a big difference from the person we saw at the beginning of the film, and is a great kind of character arc for him. As for the battle with Snoke, I think it's incredible. I think it's so well done, because for the first time, I truly did believe that Rey would take Kylo's hand. And I know she doesn't, but like, there's a moment there where you're like, yes, this could make sense, where they do want to move on from what the Jedi were into a new era of what it means. But she doesn't, because she's a good person. And I think a lot of people get confused because Kylo a lot says let the past die, and he wants to let the past die. And then people are like, oh, that's the moral of the film. The moral of the film is let the past die, that the past didn't matter. But it's proven over and over again that Kylo Ren is wrong. That you shouldn't let the past die, but you should learn from it and evolve with it into a better future, which is what Rey's understanding of it is. And then what Yoda says in the film, when Luke goes to burn down the Jedi Temple with all the Jedi text, and Yoda's like, oh, they're real page turners, aren't they? It's because they're not. They're not. The Jedi are a wonderful example of what could have been and was never lived up to. But all of the heroes of the Jedi are those that didn't follow the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan didn't follow the Jedi Order the right way. He was a hero, probably one of the greatest Jedi ever. Qui-Gon Jinn didn't follow the Jedi Order the right way. Even Luke Skywalker didn't follow the Jedi Order the right way. And by not following it the right way, they succeeded where the Jedi Order failed. And Rey is right and Luke is right when they both say that at the height of their power, the Jedi were a failure. They let the evil come in and fail once again. And I think that makes sense for why the Jedi need to change for a new generation, and why The Last Jedi gets that. And I think it's a very well done story that just gets ignored and kind of ruined by The Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
But that's my opinion. I know you guys aren't the biggest fans of it, but it's fine.
Jack, what do you think?
I think it's kind of funny because a lot of what you just said I 100% agree with, but like when I was I didn't say my ranking for the movies when I went through mine, so I'm just gonna like very quickly just like say what like stars or rating I gave mine. Like Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, both 5 stars for me, and then Star Wars, The Force Awakens, New Hope, Return of the Jedi are all 4 stars. And then The Last Jedi is 3.5 for me. When I was rating this, like it was like I cannot tell you, like it is so tough because there's so many moments in this movie where my jaw literally just drops. Whether it's like the visuals or the character moments that we get, like I remember sitting in the movie theater when Kylo Ren's reaching out to Rey, like saying, like, you know, take my hand, we can roll together. And I agree. I totally think there's a moment where you think that she'll take it. Because you just don't know going to happen in that situation. But for me, I just think from an entertainment perspective, I think I just get so bored with the storyline that Finn goes on for the first half of this movie. I just don't care for it. And I think I think Rose and Finn, I think the dynamic is a little bit forced at times. And I don't know, I did not love her character. I found her to be very, like, overly peppy, which I get it. And I think there's points where it's like, you want to have a character who is overly optimistic and sees the best in things. And I totally get that. But I think the narrative they were trying to push, especially when they go to the planet where there's like the
Camino.
casino. Yeah, Camino. I just think I don't think it really adds anything to the story, in my opinion.
See, that's where I disagree. Like, I think Camino is very important to that part of the story, because you do get to see how the 1% lives, and so you have the Resistance and the First Order fighting constantly, and it's like that. You think that that's what the whole universe is right now, is this war, but it's not. It's just the result of these people who are selling to both sides and making a fortune and living a casual life from it. And that is what's so interesting to me, is because I don't know. At least for me, I had the question of after Revenge of the Sith, and then after Return of the Jedi, there's the 30-year break, and then we go to the Force Awakens, and you're like, what the hell? They won. How is this new group back and in power? It's because of these people, the Camino people, because they realized that they could now sell to this small group, who then kept growing and growing and growing and became the First Order, and they just profited on it all along. And you got to see, like, war is what makes money in this universe. It's not the peacetime that makes money. It's the same reason why it keeps happening in the cyclical cycle, and I think that's really important to see. And while I do agree that Rose is a weaker character, I don't know about you. She reminds me a lot of Luke in Star Wars, where it's a person who is very out of their depth, but is excited to see what the universe has in store, and wants to be a hero because she's inspired by people around her. And she realizes quite quickly that this is a lot bigger than she ever thought it was, and a lot more dangerous. And where Luke kind of locked in and became a different person from Empire Strikes Back onward, and he grew a lot, we never got to see what Rose grew into becoming. And I think that is a detriment to her character in this movie, because it hurts, because you're like, oh, I know what she becomes, and it's nothing really. Where we didn't get to see that journey she could have went on. And I think that hurts it. And Charlie looked at me like,
Hunter, I was with you.
That's what I was laughing about.
I was considering everything you've said for the past, like, 15 minutes. When you said Rose is like Luke, you lost me. That's a crazy take. That's
okay, Luke, hang on.
frigid.
Luke in Star Wars is a farm boy who wants to go out in the universe and have an adventure. And turns out that adventure is a lot more dangerous and a lot bigger than he ever thought it was. And I would say Rose is similar in the fact that she's a person who's stuck behind pipes all day, like she said, and wanted to go have an adventure and be the hero of the Resistance, like Finn is. And she gets that shot, and she realizes it's a lot more dangerous than she ever thought it was. It's a lot bigger than she ever thought it was. And she has to grow a lot to understand that.
Okay.
And she does it, I think, pretty decently.
My boy Luke did not want to fight. He wanted to go to university. Then his aunt got killed and uncle got killed. That's why he joined.
Yes, and her sister got killed in the first 5 minutes of this movie. We watched it.
Yeah, but she didn't. She always wanted to fight in the Resistance. Luke got, like, pulled into it because he lost his family.
Luke wanted to go fight for the Empire.
He wanted to go to school.
He wanted to go to flight school, which was the Empire.
Yes, he didn't want to. He just wanted to fly. He didn't want to fight. He wanted to go to school to learn how to fly.
But she also wanted to be, like, I think it's pretty similar. It's a person who doesn't know what the universe has in store for them, who thinks that they're pretty confident and can handle it, and they kind of get this, whoa, woken up moment where this is very different than I thought it was.
Okay, I feel like that's like half the characters in Star Wars, but...
which is why I think it's a great archetype that they use well for Rose, and I think that the reason why she's so
Okay.
weak is we never got to finish the arc, and we just
Jack, do
it
you have any
hurts.
more in your
I think they spread it a little bit too thin. I think we never really get to enjoy the characters from the sequels. I think like I personally I love Kylo Ren. I think Kylo Ren's a great character. I think that in The Rise of Skywalker, obviously he gets. I mean, there's some sort of redemption there, but it's just like at the same time, I think they kind of screw over his character.
Agreed.
I mean, big time. I mean, I think in the first two movies, I mean, this guy is just a menace. I mean, he's a little crybaby too. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
he's a
like
temper. He's a little temper tantrum.
he's not Darth Vader, but at the same time, it's like okay, this guy has a ton of power, but he's also a human being. He's not just like he's trying to learn and he has little temper tantrums.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
little.
I love his character. I wish they would have gone a different route with it, but I think between like I love Rey, I love Finn. I think that you don't really get enough time with those two characters together in the trilogy as a whole. And I think why I think The Last Jedi is not as high for me is because I think you throw in a character like Rose where I don't like we hadn't seen in the past, and her and Finn are supposed to be so close, and I would have liked some more development between Rey and Finn and
Agreed.
Poe and that kind of trio, because especially I mean this is outside of The Last Jedi, but I think you get to The Rise of Skywalker, which we all have issues with, but you get like parts where those three are like best friends, and it's just kind of hard for me to believe considering some of the content that was given in the first two movies. I just would have liked some more time with those characters together.
I think my biggest issue with the entire sequel trilogy is that Poe doesn't meet Rey until the end of The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. I think that's an issue, but I think that's also an issue that is going to happen because you have so many characters in the sequel trilogy. Because they spend so much time with the legacy characters that I don't think you need to. I really don't think you do.
Sure. No, I agree, and I think what you said about how is the First Order funding all of this? How are they getting so powerful? I think that is an important point, and I think that it's conveyed well through the planet Camino, but I genuinely just think it's a little bit too long. I just think that
That's fine.
sequence.
Yeah.
I personally, I just think they could have shown that in a different light. Maybe had like a couple of sequences with a little bit stronger dialogue.
It does give me,
But
though, one of my favorite moments in the sequel trilogy, which is the last scene
oh, I
when
agree. The kid, yeah.
when Rose gives the kid her ring with the resistance, and then he uses the Force to grab the broom. I love that. Because I think the dumbest part of this is that they pretend like the Jedi and Force wielders just aren't around. Like, it's not like they just magically disappeared. And I know that they got rid of a lot in Order 66, but it's a genetic thing or something people can tap into where you do have the ability to utilize the Force. And, like, why would there not be more people who have the Force around this universe? I also just agree with the kind of sentiment that the Jedi need to change. And Yoda kind of hits the nail on the head for me when he talks to Luke. Because the Jedi did fail.
May I give my opinions?
Yes, please. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, because I don't know how much time I have left. So, Hunter, a lot of what you said I agree with.
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of it.
Nice.
I think Poe, everything about Poe, I agree with. Loved
Great
his arc. Loved his arc. I agree with Jack. I agree that the planet was interesting. I don't know if it's called Camino. I think that's where they produced the clones. But I agree that the planet was interesting to see kind of a backstory. But I also agree with Jack. Boring as shit.
It's Canto Bite. It's Canto Bite.
Yeah, very long and kind of boring. And agree with Jack that it was cool to see too much time there, at least in my opinion. I actually didn't think Rose was that unbearable in the rewatch. I think the kiss is terrible and very brutal and should not have been included. But I don't think that she's annoying like throughout the movie, like I used to at least. My biggest harp, and I also don't mind the Super Leia. Like that does make sense.
Wait, what's the issue with the rose kiss for you?
I just think it's terrible. It's like the quickest little peck, and it's like, why didn't they just like start getting up and walking towards or whatever? It was just like stupid. She like kissed him and then fainted. It's like, bruh.
Okay. I don't really have an issue with that.
All right,
She clearly was in love with him.
okay. Well, I had an issue with it, and I thought it was bad, and I didn't enjoy watching it. So,
You're entitled to your opinion.
also, did anyone else notice that Finn like dragged Rose probably like 5 miles in like 10 minutes? Like he just starts coming into the cave, dragging Rose. My boy was far away.
Yeah, he was
Like
far.
he dragged a long way. That was just
Big
something
time.
I noticed. But my biggest harp with this movie, and I think this is like fundamentally where we disagree, Hunter, and we're not going to see eye to eye. I think they trashed Luke's character. Luke is not someone who would have given up and gone into hiding after what happened in the original trilogy. You see that arc. He starts out as like an inexperienced, immature boy who has only lived on Tatooine. And then in the second movie, he has no patience. Yoda's trying to train him, and Yoda's like, no, like I can't train him. He's not patient enough. He's too old now, but he's like too much like his father. And like you see all these weaknesses. And then you see in the third movie, he's harnessed so much of it in 1 year. He built his own lightsaber. He has patience. Obviously, he like still struggles a little bit in the fight with Vader. He did fight with like a ton of aggression, but like after everything that happened, he is not someone who would just give up and go into hiding. And I think Mark Hamill literally agreed. He's like, yeah, they like ruined Luke's character. That's just not at all what he would do. I like that he trained Rey. I like the way he did, but like I just think that's like the stupidest thing that he could have done. And he like gets handed his lightsaber and just tosses it away. Like no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
See, I think that is. I think that is exactly what Luke would do.
No, that's no.
Because
That's
here's
just not
why.
no.
Well, okay, let me tell you why I think that's what Luke would do. I think Luke would do that exactly is because Luke felt like it was his fault. And so Luke, as a character, feels like if I'm involved, things only get worse. And so by removing himself, and removing himself not even from society, but from the Force, which we learned in that movie, he removed himself completely from the Force, so he's not even in tune with anyone, I think is a really big character choice for him because Luke failed not just his students, which is one thing. He failed his own blood so badly that it caused clearly a divorce or some kind of separation between Han and Leia. It caused Leia to lose her son and caused the dark side to rise once again in the galaxy. He failed completely. And for him, the only way to kind of get away is to disconnect completely. And I think that is something Luke would do.
Mm-mm.
And it's rectified in the end because he basically says, I was wrong to do that. I shouldn't have done that. I should have stayed because there is this next generation I have something to give back to, and I can make a change.
I think what I'm interpreting, I think that's what a normal person would do. That's not what Luke would do. You see that everything that he did in the original trilogy.
Luke is a normal person.
He saved the galaxy. He's the most feared person in the galaxy because he saved everyone. People look at him as someone who defeated the Emperor and Darth Vader. He didn't really, but people look at him like that. He is not a regular person.
Exactly. And so when a legend fails, there's a lot more weight on his shoulders.
He wouldn't bail on Leia. He wouldn't bail on Han. He wouldn't retreat to an island. That's just not what he would do. And I think it Jack, what do you think?
I don't think he would.
There's no chance.
I mean, even have it. I mean, I think you even have it in Empire Strikes Back, where he's literally leaving to go save Leia and Han, and Yoda's like, you shouldn't go. Like your training's not complete, and he's like, it doesn't matter. Like these are like He's basically like, this is my family. Like, I have to go and like at least put an effort to like save these people. And I don't. And I get it. Like, he failed miserably, but I can't see that attitude.
Can I tell you why he would do it?
Sure, go ahead.
What did Yoda do? What did Obi-Wan do? When Obi-Wan and Yoda both failed and let the Empire come to fruition, what did they do?
Because it was 2 versus everyone. They
So
all got
one versus-
bashed.
1 versus everyone.
And then he won. And then Luke won.
Yes,
this
and then
this
he
goes
lost.
to no. This actually goes to show why Luke wouldn't retreat. If Luke's willing
Yes,
to
it
do
is,
one,
because Luke
no,
would
no,
do
no,
what his teachers did,
no,
and his teachers both ran. That's what they did. They hid.
And then you know what Luke
Oh,
did? You know what Luke did? He did
Yes.
1 versus the Empire, and he won.
But
You think
he
he'd
didn't,
retreat
because
now?
he lost.
No.
He lost. He didn't
No.
lose to the Empire. He lost to Ben. He lost to Ben
This
Skywalker.
is such a bullshit-
And that was the loss.
Bullshit take. No,
He did
I'm
exactly
sorry.
what Yoda did. He did exactly what Obi-Wan did. They both went into hiding and exile. That's exactly what the Jedi have done for generations. It's the Jedi way. He went right into what the Jedi would always do, and that's what the Jedi always did. That's
I feel
exactly
like-
what the Jedi do.
I feel like it's a different situation.
What's that?
It's
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's not. It's worse.
I
It's
think
exactly what the
different.
Jedi do. The Jedi go into hiding.
No,
That's what they do.
That's bullshit.
Yes.
No.
'Cause
no.
So then,
I think
so then, do you not? So then, you think that Yoda and Obi-Wan are worse characters because of their choice?
That's just
I
not
think
all
it's-
that. Okay,
But how is it different? It's
I'm
the
gonna
same.
I'm going to speak for like 60 seconds without interruption. Yoda and Obi-Wan were in the Jedi Order. Clearly, the Jedi Order failed. They got overrun. They weren't going to be able to win because everyone was targeting them, so they went into retreat. Obi-Wan was going to take care of Luke. Yoda was going to go into hiding. Luke grows up, finds reason to go against the Empire, gets trained by Obi-Wan, seeks out Yoda for training, and then does a 1v everyone and wins. And has proved he's tried to rebuild the Jedi Order in a different way. And then just because he loses, now he's going to go into hiding. What feat did Yoda and Obi-Wan have where they won and then went into hiding? Luke defeated the Empire. He stood up against everyone, which Obi-Wan and Yoda couldn't do. Why would he go into hiding now after losing? He's been losing his entire life, and then he won. And then he stood up for courage and hope. Why would he retreat?
Because that's the Jedi way. He wasn't a Jedi before.
You literally just said that Luke and
Yoda-
Obi-Wan aren't true Jedi.
Yoda was one of, if not the greatest Jedi of all time, who trained generations of Jedi. He was the sole reason that the Jedi probably were as great as they were. I mean, he was Qui-Gon's master, he was Mace Windu's master, many other people's masters. He's the master, basically, of masters. He then defeats people. In the Attack of the Clones, he kind of defeated Count Dooku. And then they had that victory, where they freed everyone, went on. Then he lost, and he went into hiding. So then, you look at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan also had great victories. He defeated, well, at least he thought he defeated, Mace, what's his name? Double-bladed. You know what I'm talking
Maul.
about.
Darth Maul.
Thank you, Darth Maul. He also then defeated other people along the way, like, Four Arms guy, which is good in my mind right now. And
General
then,
Grievous.
thank you, and then he lost.
Brother.
And he went into exile. We've talked a lot of Star Wars, there's a lot of names. So then, you look at Luke Skywalker, who wasn't a Jedi and had a resilience. And then, as he got more and more involved with the Jedi, and more involved with the ways of the ancient Jedi, read the text, became this paragon of what the Jedi were, learned the ways of the Jedi, he finally failed. And failed Ben Solo, and lost his entire group of Padawan. And he did exactly what the Jedi always do, and went into exile. It's
So when
the
he got
same
his-
thing.
When he got his
always
arm
did.
cut off, and when Darth Vader defeated him, did Luke go, fuck, I lost, gotta go into hiding?
No,
No.
because that's not who he was. But he changed. He became a different person when he became
Dude,
not just Luke
this is such a
Skywalker.
cold
He
take.
wasn't. He wasn't Luke Skywalker anymore. He was Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, which is a very different thing than the person he was. It's the Jedi way. to run away. That's what they always have done. And that's exactly what Luke Skywalker did, the same way both of his mentors did, is they ran away. And that's what he did. And then he did exactly what Obi-Wan did and what Yoda did when a new up-and-coming generation of Jedi found them. They taught them their ways and realized what they did probably wasn't the best choice. And in the same way that Obi-Wan did, and in the same way that kind of Yoda did, but not really, they then utilized themselves when it was necessary.
I just think it's bullshit that you're equating Luke to every other Jedi. Luke is not every other Jedi. Luke is the chosen one who brought order to the galaxy. He's not giving up and running away. I think that is fundamentally who Luke is, which is why
he's not the chosen one. Anakin's the chosen one.
No, he's fucking not.
Anakin is the chosen one who brought balance to the Force.
Anakin was supposed to be the chosen one.
He did bring balance to the Force. The Jedi were wrong. The balance was that there was no Sith. There was only one Sith left in the Jedi, and it was Palpatine, compared to all of this Jedi. And so there's so much good compared to
Palpatine and Darth Maul. Palpatine and Count Dooku. There were always two Sith. There always are two Sith. So now
there's two. When the other ones went away and there was just Palpatine, the balance had to return. Anakin. There's your second one.
Dude.
That's the balance.
Rewatch the movies. Rewatch them.
I just watched them. I got it now.
Rewatch them. I don't think you do.
The balance was brought back.
I do not think you do.
This is the Jedi way. They run away into exile. That's what they do. And that's why the Jedi are wrong, and they needed to evolve. And finally Luke saw that. And Yoda finally saw that. And Yoda told you the lesson of the movie, that they have been wrong, and they need to change, that there is good in everyone if you find it, and you need to cherish that good.
Jack?
I was thinking, like, I think the situations that, like, whether I think Luke would run or not is insignificant, because I think at this point we all just think what we think, and I don't think anyone's going to choose to believe any different. But personally, I think that the situation that Obi-Wan and Yoda are put in is a little bit different. Like, they had this massive clone army, and then at the snap of a finger, it's automatically, like, up against them. But then not only that, like, every other Jedi is just, like, dead. So I think saying whether they ran or not. Well, Luke had a Jedi. He had a Jedi army. He didn't just have like his entire like.
He had a rebellion.
Kylo Ren killed them all.
No, I know that. I'm saying Kylo Ren killed them all, but I'm saying like an army in general. I'm talking about the clones.
So did Kylo. Kylo had been the First Order, was ready with Snoke.
No, I got you, but I was just saying like I think that you go from like having this massive clone army with Yoda and Obi-Wan, and then you kill all the Jedi, as opposed to Kylo Ren just killing all the Jedi. I feel like those are two very different circumstances.
I guess we just disagree. That's okay.
I think we can agree to disagree, and that's okay.
Because I think my moral of the story is the Star Wars that I think that I love, I don't think is going to get made anymore. Which is okay. I think the Star Wars that you guys love is more what's going to get made. And so that's fine. But moral of the story, I still like Star Wars. I just think I like Star Wars differently than everyone else, which is okay. Do you want to do our 5 favorites now? Wrap it up?
I'm seeing red right now. I'm pretty hot.
Well, talking about your 5 favorites, we'll fix it. All right. Let's start with. It's not really a draft because if you have the same, we can do the same.
I feel like that takes the fun out of it. I feel like I feel like there's definitely.
Should we do a draft?
Overlap.
We could do it. Okay, let's do a draft. Chuck, why don't you go first? Because I feel like you needed a little pickup after what we just talked about.
It's okay. I don't have to go first.
All right. Well, on my screen, I have you, me, then Jack in like a triangle. So why don't we just do that order? So you, myself, then Jack, and we'll snake it. Jack,
okay,
back
so I'm still going first.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. First, I'm taking Return of the King. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Sweet. Yeah.
Thanks.
Not on my list, but is that your favorite movie of all time?
It sure is, Hunter.
I really
Actually,
like.
it's The
I like.
Last Jedi. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Didn't say it was my favorite.
I just really love that movie.
I think you guys are gonna one day. One day you're gonna get it.
No, I don't think I will.
All right. Well, Return of the King is off the board. I really like Return of the King. I think it's probably my favorite of the Lord of the Rings. Probably.
Makes sense.
I really like Fellowship. I
Me
think
too.
Fellowship might be my favorite though, so I'm a little conflicted. But all right. I will go first for my number one. My 1-1, La La Land. I've said it for years.
You bitch.
It's
You
it's
bitch.
still, listen. It's my favorite. I've said it for so long, but I'm gonna keep it. It's my 1-1.
No, I gotta
I
pick it.
watch it like twice a year.
No, I knew you were gonna pick that. So,
Okay. I'm adding it to our draft. I'm writing it down right now. Okay. Jack, it's your 1-1.
I mean, it's stayed pretty consistent throughout the years. The Dark Knight is just too iconic for me, and I love the Batman, but I think the Dark Knight is just whether the Dark Knight or the Batman is the better movie of the two. Um, I will not disclose that information, but personally, I think the Dark Knight just has a special place in my heart, so it's pretty easy to call that my favorite movie.
I'm with you, and I think that's what's interesting about favorites is like favorites is not necessarily the best. It's just what you like more, which is why we can disagree about Star Wars. All right, you're starting off round two. Start it. Let's see what you got.
Up again. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna choose this because I feel like maybe one of you guys might choose it by the time it gets back to me. I'm gonna go with Oppenheimer.
Oh,
I
very
know I have
nice.
two. I have two Nolans already, so that's
Hey, we
it's
get
very
it. I was just
very
gonna pick Glenn
fanboy of
Powell
me.
movies as like a joke, but
You could choose The Dark Knight Rises.
yeah, just go for it. I'm with you. I think Oppenheimer is probably my favorite Nolan movie. I think it's incredible. It's my favorite from last year. It's one of the most incredible like IMAX experiences I've ever had in my life. All right, next up, I'm gonna take Ocean's 11 from 2001. Soderbergh, George Clooney, and Brad Pitt, which we talked about earlier in Wolves. I think I've seen this movie more than any other movie in my entire life. I adore Ocean's 11. It's like the perfect film to me. So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, hater.
Okay. With my number two, I'm taking Good Will Hunting.
Wow, that's a recent addition.
No surprise there. Bro loves it.
Yeah,
I
look
mean,
at
it
my
is
review,
great.
and you'll understand. It's
No, yeah,
cheesy.
it's great.
And then with my number three, I think Hunter might take this, so I'm just gonna take it now. The Batman.
Nice.
Not on my list.
Cool. I don't
But
think
I
anything else
do.
that I have is on either of your lists.
I know. I don't think we're gonna have that much crossover. Being honest, at
He
least
said
on
on
my
La La
list.
Land.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I knew I would get it. Sorry. All right,
Ridiculous.
the Batman. Dude. The Batman 2 is probably my most anticipated movie of the next like decade. I don't even know. For number three, I'm gonna go When Harry Met Sally. I think the greatest rom com ever.
Good pick.
I watch it at least once a year, especially during the fall and like October time. It is beyond charming, and it's one of those movies that gets better every single time I watch it, and I just can't stop watching it. So it's gonna get better every single time. Also, a great Princess Leia Carrie Fisher role in that movie. So shout out. All right, Jack, finish round three for us.
For my third, I'm going to go with. I mean, if you call La La Land a rom com, then that's my favorite rom com. But I don't really that's more like a musical
I would
romantic.
say it's a musical rom com.
Yeah. But just right behind La La Land, I'm gonna go with About Time. Richard Curtis Have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
Yes, another Star Wars guy,
Yes.
General Hux.
Yeah. What is it? Domhnall Gleeson?
Yeah,
Is that how you say his name?
yes, the Gleason son.
He rocks. I mean, this movie is just it has like a science fiction-esque spin on the whole movie. I had no idea what this movie was going to be about. I mean, I just knew it was like a romance movie, and then I
I always
ended up
forget
watching
Margot
it.
Robbie's in it.
I love it. I mean, I just think everything about this movie just totally rocks, and it's easy too because I can watch it with my girlfriend.
It's always a bonus.
It is always a bonus.
Round 4.
Yeah, I would love to like review that movie sometime in the. I mean, not necessarily like soon, but at one point on the pod because I love it. It rocks.
If we even all cover that.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I'm totally down. I think we could pick a couple favorites of ours that maybe some of us haven't seen, and then maybe dig into those. I feel like that'd be fun.
Sweet.
And then fourth favorite. I got a lot of choices here. Sorry, I'm taking a while.
A lot of pressure here on this one.
I know.
Towards the end, it's tough.
Like I have one pick left, and it's just. I mean, I could go Dune 2 from this past year. It was fantastic. I'm not gonna go Dune 2.
I know Charlie will go Dune 2.
I could pick my favorite Harry Potter movie.
You have 2 picks left, Jack, I think.
You do.
Oh, we're doing 5. Oh, we have 5.
Yeah, you said.
I'm gonna go with my favorite animated movie then, and I'm gonna go with Coco.
All right. Oh, dude.
Respect.
So good. Coco is one of the biggest ones I regret not seeing in theaters.
Me too.
I just never got around to it, and it's just it annoys me to this day. All right, this is tough. I'm trying to think what Charlie would take if it's one of these last two, which I don't think it is. All right, I'm gonna go with probably my favorite movie of the last 6 years. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
Which
I thought you were about to take mine. I was about to spite you with Dune 2.
No.
Charlie likes the first Top Gun more.
Yeah, it doesn't like the second one. So I had to.
I
Top
like
Gun
the
Maverick.
second one. I just like the first one more.
He said Glenn Powell has too much charisma.
Choice. Yeah, I think Glenn Powell. I think Top Gun Maverick is no joke perfect. I would not change a single thing about that movie. It's so well done. It saved cinema, kind of, which is awesome. And I honestly, if I could go see it every single week in IMAX, I would do that because it's just that amazing. I've probably seen it 10 times. I'm not even joking. Since it came out, I got the Steelbook back here somewhere at 4K. It's an incredible film that I really hope if they ever do a sequel to it, which I honestly don't think they should. I hope they do well because what an amazing legacy sequel. All right, Chuck. Give us your last 2. Finish it off.
I'll take Dune Part 2.
No shot. Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take Ghostbusters.
Hey, Chuck, does bustin' make you feel good?
I love Ghostbusters. And then I'll take Paddington 2.
Oh, you slimy. Dude, Paddington 2 is incredible.
I know, it's so good. I might bump it up to a 5-star.
I'm so excited for Paddington 3 this year.
Right?
Yeah. Jack, you ever seen the Paddington films?
Not seen any of them.
Jack, you gotta watch them this week.
You have to. Yes, I agree.
You have to watch them this week. I probably look like a fool picking Paddington 2 right now.
No, you do not.
No.
You look like a genius.
I understand the jokes. I watched
so
the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I've seen
Yeah.
the fan base that Paddington 2 has. If Pedro Pascal
Marmalade.
is in on this, then I have to be too.
It's so
Mom,
cute, and
it's
it might
amazing.
draw some tears. It drew some tears
That's
for me.
I welled up.
Yeah.
I welled up.
I
Um,
wonder what
my
Hunter's taking.
my number five. Do you want to guess? If you think that you know,
Dune Part Two.
nope.
Hmm.
I'm taking a sequel though.
The Last
Uh,
Jedi.
I'm taking 2004's Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
I rewatched it recently. I rewatched all Spider-Man recently. It's an amazing film. Like, I think it's the best comic book film ever, and I say that like very reluctantly because I do love the Batman so much. But Spider-Man 2 balances everything incredibly well. Probably the best villain in Doc Ock, and it's just a deep understanding of Spider-Man that I adore. And I honestly would watch it again, like right now, and I just watched it like a week ago. So Spider-Man 2, just incredible, and it's obviously like my top five for sure.
it's no Madam Web.
That's right. It's no Madam Web. All right, finish the draft, Jack.
As much I want to go with like Bullet Train, but I'm not going to go with Bullet Train. I want to go with the B movie. I'm not going to go with the B movie. I mean, you guys have seen that, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The B movie is one I could just turn on and just watch forever. I mean, it's like it's such a stupid movie, but
Barry B. Benson. He's deep thought. You have all the choices in the world.
I know, It's I mean, it's tough in general. When anyone asks you, I mean, it's when someone asks what's your favorite movie, it's impossible. It's impossible to tell them what your favorite movie is.
I'm with you.
In my opinion, I mean, I just feel like there's so much. Um, I'm gonna go with one I watched this past semester. I watched Life is Beautiful. I'm gonna go with that one. I watched
I don't
that
think I've ever seen it.
in my class, in my Italian film class this past semester. It rocked. I mean, it's very sad, but there's a lot of great elements that make this movie just incredible. I mean, it had me on the just like bawling my eyes out on the airplane. So,
I
if
think
you guys
that's
have
actually
time
a
to watch it,
testament of a great film. If you can cry in an airplane,
hey, what's up, pal?
What just
hey man,
happened?
they just leave during his
I
beautiful
don't know what
like
just happened. My computer
talking.
just like shut off.
Make sure you're still recording then.
I'll check
Uh,
after.
I gotta watch this now, Jack. That sounds incredible.
It's great. I mean, it's a World War II movie. Deals with some pretty heavy subjects, but how it deals with it is pretty interesting. It has like a very unique viewpoint. Roberto Benigni, he won an Oscar for his performance. It's just like it's very untraditional as opposed to a lot of the war movies that you see, and somewhat controversial. It sounds like it was pretty controversial when it came out. Um, but first half is just very grand, and then second half you dig into a lot deeper subject matter. But great movie. Feel like I had to include it.
Cool.
I'll do a quick recap of all of our lists. For Charlie, Return of the King, Good Will Hunting, The Batman, Ghostbusters, Paddington 2. For Jack, Dark Knight, Oppenheimer, About Time, Coco, and Life is Beautiful. And finally for me, La La Land, Ocean's 11, When Harry Met Sally, Top Gun Maverick, and Spider-Man 2. Awesome. Awesome. Dude, great episode, you guys. What a great episode for Jack's kind of first official one as a co-host. We learn about Star Wars and our feelings on it and how different they are. Looking ahead next week, we have actually have a review. Bad Boys. Bad Boys, whatever the subtitle is for that. But Bad Boys 4. Bad Boys Ride or Die. Excited. So that'll be next week's episode. But yeah, anything else from you guys? Maybe you'll watch The Last Jedi again with some new things in mind, and understand how amazing it is.
I'd rather
I
gouge my eyes out.
I think we should just put aside next episode just to go even further into The Last Jedi and
Yeah,
just
just
really
do a
make
Last
sure we
Jedi
can
episode.
I never
Go.
thought The Last Jedi would reap this much conversation. For such
It's a
a
wonderful
mediocre movie, I never thought that we'd be
wonderful film.
discussing it in depth. I thought
I
we'd be
think that's
discussing
the
like Revenge of the Sith or something.
It's the testament of how incredible it is because we still talk about it.
Is that how that works?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, well, awesome. So we got that, and then speaking of Star Wars, doesn't the Acolyte come out soon?
Didn't it already come out? Or no?
I don't know. Oh, June 4th. So this week. So next week we'll talk more Star Wars because we'll have episode 1 of the Acolyte to talk about as well. So Acolyte
Yay.
and Bad Boys 4. I'm sure we'll have a lot of awesome things to discuss. But as always, thank you for listening. Be sure to talk to us on socials and everything. But yeah, have a great week at the movies.